Now to our first major topic of the day. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has supervised the successful conclusion of a historic settlement agreement between the federal government of Nigeria, Italian oil firm Eni, and Nigeria Ajib Exploration Limited. The resolution, according to a release issued by presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga, was achieved during a closed-door meeting in Abuja this past week, which was attended by Chief Executive Officer of Eni, Claudio Descalzi, and the firm's Chief Operating Officer, Guido Brusco, Head of Sub-Saharan Region, Mario Bello, Managing Director of Nigerian Ajib Exploration, Fabrizio Bolondi, and Special Advisor to the President on Energy, Ulu Veijen. The agreement brought to a close the long-standing dispute over oil prospecting license OPL 245, paving the way for the development of one of Nigeria's most significant deep-water resources. Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu this past week inaugurated an 11-member committee to drive the establishment of the Grid Asset Management Company, a new initiative aimed at addressing Nigeria's persistent power sector challenges. The committee was constituted following the approval of the company's establishment by the Federal Executive Council, which endorsed the proposal to create GAMCO as part of efforts to tackle stranded power generation, transmission bottlenecks, and grid management inefficiencies. Earlier, the Federal Executive Council had approved the establishment of a Grid Asset Management Company to address Nigeria's persistent power transmission challenges. And before some expert perspective on this, it's been reported that the conflict in Iran has driven oil price past $90 a barrel to its highest weekly gains since the COVID-19 pandemic 6 years ago, threatening a fresh rise in global inflation. Reports that Kuwait had begun cutting production of oil at some fields after running out of space to store it drove the cost of a barrel of Brent crude to as high as $91.89 at one point on Friday, the highest since April 2024, and up from about $72.50 just before war broke out. The price of the international benchmark has surged more than 25% since the U.S.-Israel attack on Iran last weekend, its biggest weekly jump since the week to April 3, 2020. Fears are now growing over a broader storage crisis in the Middle East that could force the world's biggest oil producers to halt extraction. Energy expert Chuks Emeka joins me now to evaluate the connection between the Middle East crisis and the emerging spike in global inflation costs, including here in Nigeria, where it's been reported that the cost of a liter of petrol now goes for more than 1,000 naira in some areas like Lagos and Abuja. Good to see you on This Day Live, the Sunday talk show.
Thank you, Dr. Abati, for having me on board.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Well, the one that concerns the people is where we should start from. Food inflation has gone up on a weekly basis. Fuel price has gone up. I think some people are even buying fuel at $1,200. Everything else has gone up, including power, everything. Exactly. So why should a war that is being waged in the Middle East, many of us in Nigeria, we have even never been to Middle East, and we are paying the price here in Nigeria. Can you help us explain the connection?
Okay, let me start by saying...
What they mean when they say the world is a global village? A global village of suffering, collateral damage?
Let me start by sympathizing with the OPEC countries concerning the war at this moment, because it's a complex one, in the sense that for government like Nigerian government will benefit a lot from it, because there's an advantage when the prices of fuel goes up. In terms of the international price, the Nigerian government benefits because our budget was benchmarked at $68.5 per barrel. Now we are going to be getting fuel. The product is going to be coming at 90 to 91, as speculated just a few days ago when the war started. So I think for the government is benefit, because there's going to be a boom. $30 extra is no joke on top of what we are having. But for the Nigerian consumers, it's going to be challenging, because we are still a consuming nation. We import PMS. We import diesel, and then it's going to affect us, because there is price fluctuation in the international market. There will be less production coming in. There will be scramble. There will be scramble for petroleum products across the world. Now, that is the reason why I was saying in my earlier discussions on some of these channels, some of these TV stations, and I said that internal domestication is very important. The refineries are not working. If our refineries are working, we will have less of the problem for the populace. I was just buying fuel across the NPC filling station, just around Awolowo Road. And they are selling at 1,200. It's killing. What of the man who is on the street? Maybe he's grinding pepper. The woman grinding pepper, the man that is doing vulcanizer, and he needs fuel. It's going to be challenging for them. So that is the reason why I said that our refineries need to work. If our refineries are working, we won't have the heat affecting the populace. The government is benefiting, but the populace is suffering. That's the reason why internal domestication, making sure our refineries work, is a critical element at this moment. Most of these other OPEC countries who have these refineries may not feel the heat the way we are feeling it here. Why we are feeling it is because we are still importing. Dangote is not giving us the whole total sum we need. A major part is coming in from outside, from importers. So it's going to be affecting the populace, because a lot of people, importers are going to push the price up, because there's scramble in the market. There is little refined products coming in, because most of the Gulf countries are no more bringing this. The shipping companies are all shutting down. They are all closing up. They don't want to allow go through that route anymore. So it's going to affect the incoming of petroleum products. It's also going to affect the incoming of crude products to refineries in Europe, where most of our importers are buying. Most of these importers are buying from Spain and the rest of them. It's going to affect them. So that's the challenge we have at the moment.
But you are saying that the Nigerian government will benefit. Well, people have two opinions about that. The first opinion is that we're doing about 1.5 million barrels in terms of daily output. So if we were more productive, perhaps we would gain more.
Yeah.
The other argument that people are putting up is that even if we were to do 2.3 million barrels per day, the windfall, which is what you were referring to, will not be of any advantage to the average Nigerian, because the money will be frittered away anyway. The money will be mismanaged anyway. The revenue will be stolen anyway by those who steal revenue is meant for the people.
That has always been the leadership issue. It's an issue of leadership here. That is why that is why I said that there are levels to this. There are different dimensions to this. This is the issue we are talking about now. It's totally different from the benefits the government is going to get. Now, if the money comes in and it is mismanaged, that is actually government's issues. That is where the government problem is. That is why we need leadership that is accountable. That's why we also need leadership that shows transparency. Most of the things done in the oil and gas sector, it's not transparent. We don't even know what is going on. It's only a few information that is being dissipated outside into the public. So that's the reason why I for once believe that if the government is transparent in the issues that has to do with the oil and gas sector, we will have problem. Now let me give for an instance. The refineries are not working, not because they can work. I've been to the Port Harcourt refinery. The major problem of that refinery is just exchanges. That's the problem with that refinery. There's nothing wrong with that refinery, but it's exchanges. People are saying it's old. There's nothing special about restructuring an old vehicle. or rebranding or rebuilding an old structure, infrastructure. The problem is leadership. We don't have the right people in the right place. We don't have the right people managing our infrastructure. I just looked at the list of the people in GAMCO that was set up recently. There is no energy guy there. We're having politicians gathered in a committee. When they get to sit in the meeting, they're talking political things. There's no energy. There's nobody. Look at the Minister of Petroleum, the Minister of Energy in Nigeria is an accountant. But the Minister of Energy in Ghana is an energy specialist. From his BSc to his PhD to even international, he studied energy economics. But Adelabu is an accountant. He has the only experience, the only thing he has done that I've seen is what he did in CBN. He has no knowledge. That's the reason why we're having problems in these sectors. We don't put the right people.
No. Point of correction. In GAMCO, my former teacher, Professor Yemi Oke, is a professor of energy law. And he's a very knowledgeable man about the energy sector, electricity.
That is out of the 100%, out of the few people there, we only have one.
You were saying there's nobody there who knows about energy.
When I say this, let me give you an instance. If you're going to set up a committee and you want people to be able to deliberate over an issue that has to do with technicalities, engineering, and things that has to do with infrastructures like this, you need 1, 2, 3, 4 people. You don't need just one energy engineer to deliberate with other accountants and people, civil engineers. The guy who is Umar is a civil engineer. Okay. Adelabu is an accountant. How do you want just one person who has an energy knowledge to deliberate with others? You need 1, 2, 3 to think. This is what we call think tank. We need 3, 4 people who have experience in that area to be able to drive us to the next phase. We don't have light. I'm coming out from my house. There's no power.
Go and do solar. Even the presidential villa is doing solar now.
Solar is an objection. Is what we call is an option. It's not the central basics of me as a Nigerian. I was in Ghana 3 weeks ago. My 3 weeks. There was no power failure.
They have Doomsaw in Ghana too. They had to manage it to get to where they are now. Doomsaw. You must have had those.
Why don't we also have a structure that way? Is it wrong for Nigeria to structure their energy sector? Is it wrong for Nigeria to get the right people, the right experts to fill that position?
Okay, I'm just as skeptical as you are about, electricity transmission. Also, do you think that this grid management body that has been set up with the 11-member committee can make a difference? Because the whole issue is about making sure that the capacity we have, about 13,000,
is being transmitted.
So that we don't keep falling beyond. But how about the infrastructure, the dilapidated infrastructure? The grid is always breaking down. It's always collapsing. How about the idea that transmission of electricity, which is exclusively, managed by the federal government, should be taken away from the federal government, so that if at that level you deregulate, you have private sector, then of course maybe you get better results.
That is another option. But since it's still in the hands of federal government, why don't we have experts in that area? Transmission has always been the problem of Nigeria. We don't have problem with generation. We have 15,000 or 13,000 megawatts in generation. We are only having 5,000 megawatts in transmission. Look at the disparity between 13 and 5. If we have even 10,000 in transmission, we won't have this problem we are having. But even at that, the generation is still low. Nigeria seems to be one of the countries generating very low electricity across Africa, and with a very, very mass population of about 230 million people. So we are not doing well in that area. We're not meeting the needs of the people in that area. And I can tell you the reason, the challenge with the energy sector is making government not to see that there is a benefit, that's money that can be generated there. As I speak to you, even we've been announcing that they will give people what they call the prepaid meters. People are still not getting it. And then government is also losing heavily from this because people are going behind the scene to get these things done. People are losing. The government is losing in this regard. That is why, if this thing is as structured, one of the mainstays of most economies across the world is power generation. That is, most countries, their mainstay of income generation, revenue generation is energy. Why are we not taking advantage of that? Why is Nigeria not taking advantage? Are we only going to be doing in crude oil production? Let's look at this axis. Let's structure it properly, so the government can also benefit from it. Imagine if everybody in this country, every household in this country has a prepaid meter. Just imagine what it will look like. Just imagine what in the generation that will come. Just imagine the revenue that will be generated.
Okay, I got your point about this, power grid management company that the president has set up. You are saying, invariably, that they are not likely to make any difference. Is that what you are saying?
Yeah.
And that the president is just, using bureaucracy to address a more important problem that may probably not require bureaucracy.
The issue I've always been saying is putting the right people in the right place. We have experts across the world. I have a friend in Poland. He's the one driving the energy power generation sector as their head there in Poland. We have the Nigerians. I'm talking about Nigerians. They're everywhere in the world. All they need to do is to say it. Say we need so and so people to come. Let's drive this. You will see them, they will come. Nigerians are willing to do these things. We are not lacking them. We are not lacking in intelligent people. We are not lacking in people who are experts in this area. The only problem we are lacking is that we are using these infrastructures, these government institutions as settlements for political associates. It's not nice. It's not right. You can't be using things like power, energy, oil and gas, refineries to settle political associates because they helped you. No, that is not right. We need to get experts. That is the reason, that's the reason why they call them technocrats. We need to get them on board. Now, let's give an example. One of the things the president have done right, which I will applaud him for. Putting Umai as the minister for works and housing was the masterstroke. Because he is a civil engineer, he's an engineer, he understands that terrain. Now, putting an Adelabu as a minister for power is wrong. Because he doesn't know what they are saying there. I can talk him out of it. Even as an engineer, I can talk him out of it. He won't know what they are saying. Because he doesn't have experience in that area. Look at Batinaji, what he's doing in Aba. We need experts. No, these people are not lacking. We don't lack these people. We have thousands of them spread across the world who are in the field. I'm not talking about theoretical or textbook knowledge. I'm talking about people who are doing these things and it is working. Let's invite them. Let's bring them on board. Let's ask them to help us structure this area. And most of these people will be willing to come back. That is what we're talking about. You want influx of these guys who have gone outside the world to go and do things. They are doing things in the US, they are doing things in Europe. You want them to bring them back. This is how to bring them back.
Okay, very quickly. We started with inflation. Let's go back there because I went in the direction of the GAMCO because you mentioned it. Now, do you think things will still get more terrible for us in terms of rising costs? Fuel price is already 1,200. Food inflation has gone up. Is it going to get worse?
It's going to get worse.
How?
Because if the war does not stop, the whole world, I won't say the whole world, let me say 80% or 70% of the whole world, oil and gas, energy comes in from the Gulf nations. You can't push them away. The Bahrains, the Saudi Arabians, the Irans, they are the ones driving. Yeah, they are the ones driving this axis. You can't take them off. They are key. Now, because they are key, they are shutting down, more especially that Strait of Hormuz, shutting it down, and ships and vessels can't pass through this thing. Is a problem for us.
more especially most of us who are consuming nations, who consume these things, that this refined product, is a problem. Because if that place is shut for the next 4 weeks, this price of fuel is going to go to 150. I'm telling you with the honesty.
150?
Yes.
That would be nice. 150 naira.
I have $150 per barrel.
Oh, okay. You mean dollars. Okay.
That is what I'm talking about.
I was thinking naira.
The crude. Now, it's also going to affect us because most of these refiners, like now, just had that the Bahrain has shut down one part of their plant. They can't produce. And another challenge that is we also going to have is that the storage capacity will be overflooded. If the storage is overflooded, just like we have in the storage tank here, if we have storage overflooded, nobody will bring in fuel because the tanks are full. Where do you want to put the vessels coming? So it's a complex problem. That is why
but many Nigerians are blaming Dangote Refinery. They say, oh, Dangote Refinery promised that fuel price will go down. And, consistently, the Dangote Refinery has been reducing the pump price of fuel. Now they say, why is Dangote increasing price? After all, it gets, what do they call that system again? Crude for Naira, right? I think it's called crude for Naira.
Dangote.
So is it a Dangote problem or a problem of the geopolitics you've been describing?
Dangote is a private-owned entity. Dangote has no 100% obligation to sell fuel to me.
To do what?
He doesn't have 100% obligation to sell fuel to Nigerians.
Okay.
Dangote can decide to sell his fuel to Ghanaians. Nigeria will not hold him in his neck. He's a private-owned entity. Dangote's three major priorities. One is to service, to make sure that directors are paid. Two is to make profit and to satisfy shareholders. Dangote has no priority.
No, add to it. Patriotically, he says, to ensure energy stability in Nigeria and to ensure foreign exchange stability also, as a patriot.
That is as a patriot, but as a businessman. He is also a businessman, like any other of the IOCs we have, like Mobil, like Shell, like Konoye. He's a businessman too. He wants to make profit. Now, apart from these three elements I've itemized, there's also the issue of what is going on in the Middle East. It's also going to affect him too. Because the fuel prices is going to be buying it at a higher price. Now, he buys at a higher price, he's going to refine, he's going to sell the product here. He's going to sell it for me, I'll sell it for you at 800. He's going to sell it at 1 something. Because he's also looking at the benchmark, that is the differentials on it. There's a differential of $30 now from 72, where it was before, to about 90 something. There's a differential about $21. He's going to look at that differentials because also he's paying money to get it. When he pays money to get it, he's not expecting to sell at a loss. He has directors to pay. He has shareholders to satisfy. He also wants to make profit because he's going to pay his staffs. So it's a private-owned entity. A Nigerian-owned establishment will not think that way. What it will think is, how do we make sure that the Nigerians don't feel the heat of this global tension? That is what a Nigerian-owned institution will say. But the government, the Dangote will not sit in his board and start telling the board, oh, please, we are going to sell this in chips out to Nigerians will be happy. That is not what he's going to be telling the directors. The people invested money in that business.
$20 billion.
Yes, banks invested money into their business. They want profit. They're not going to say because the Nigerians are suffering, let him sell for us at 500. No, that's not going to happen. He wants to make profit. And because it's a private-owned establishment, the patriotism is just side talk. This man is a businessman. There are other refineries too. What are you talking about? Where are we always focusing on Dangote? We have other refineries too. Are we also going to tell them, no, please don't sell at 800 or 700. Please sell at 500. Don't sell at 1,000 or 1,002. Sell at 800. You can't tell them that. These guys are businessmen. They collected loans. Most of them collected loans from banks. And these loans are running on interest. So you don't expect them to do. The same thing is also applicable to those who are importing. If anybody manages to import fuel today, you won't tell him, please sell at 1,200. No, you can't tell him that. Because why? Most of these things have gone up there at the Brent price. Now the Brent price now, which is which is under the WTI standard, the price has gone up.
But this is a country that is the sixth oil-producing country in the world. So why can't we be more productive for the benefit of the Nigerian people?
That is why I.
Because there is a crude for naira policy. If the local refineries get crude at the rate in naira and they get adequate supply, won't we be in a better place?
No, we are still going back to what I was saying earlier about internal domestication of our refineries. Let's assume that we just have 2 refineries that is working, or even 1. We won't feel the heat. Because NNPC or whoever is managing the refinery will not say, NNPC cannot tell me as a Nigerian that a Brent price is affecting this product. They can't say that. It's a Nigerian owned. We are all stakeholders in that refinery. NNPC will still keep that price at what is affordable for Nigerians, so that Nigerians don't feel the heat. Now, if you notice, this thing is also going to affect the food stuff in the market. People will start saying their transport from Kano to Lagos is costing them 1.2 million before, now it's now 1.8. Now the prices of rice or prices of whatever they are importing will shoot up. It's not going to affect the man on the streets. It's going to affect everybody.
Even landlords, very soon landlords will say the price of cement has gone up and rent has to go up. For a house that they built in 1970. That's the way we are in this country.
That is the greed.
Anyway, let me now ask you about OPL 245. You are in the oil and gas sector. Yeah. The president just, tried to resolve the problem, and there's going to be fresh activity by ENI in that very prolific oil block.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think of that? And the fact that in the course of the years, reputations have been tarnished, people have been accused wrongly, and all the cases against identified persons have been, dismissed by the courts across the world, at least with particular reference to Nigeria. In this regard, I'm thinking of Mohamed Adoke's book, OPL 245,
exactly.
Which is the comprehensive text on this subject. Now, what do you think is the effect of this that President Tinubu
I want to comment.
Adoke, for example, is saying that the Nigerian government owes him an apology for victimizing him for about 7 years, and at the end of the day, finding nothing amiss done either by his office or the Jonathan administration.
I want to commend the president for that, because it's a 15-year-old battle, and then also is also an additional 150,000 barrels per day added to our daily crude oil production. So it's a good thing for the president to resolve that issue. It's a long issue, and everybody should sheathe their swords and then find peace. That's what I would say. Everybody should find peace. Battles are fought, and also settlements are made. But I would think that the government should find a way to compensate every party and make every party to feel at peace, because we need peace. That is what we need in Niger Delta. We need peace in that axis. There are other benefits that can come out from there. That 150,000 added to what we have now is a good block. It helps us to be able to push up, because the president's target, according to what he said last time, was 2 million barrels per day. So if he hits that 2 million barrels per day, it's good for him, and it's also good for the country. So I think that's a good area there.
But do you think that a person like Mohamed Adoke, who was vilified for years over nothing, do you think the apology that he's asking for
I can't speak categorically about what Adoke feels. I can't.
No, he has written a book that is in the public domain.
So I can't speak. He can feel about otherwise. The government is a government. This is government, and there's nothing you can do about it.
So government can treat people anyhow.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you can't fight the federal government and win the battle. So the only thing he can do is to go back to the courts if he wants to go back to, and continue legal battles if he chooses to.
How can somebody go to court to say, I want federal government to apologize to me? things don't work
but
that
the government
way. There should be morality.
The government should
there should
do
be
that.
morality in the conduct of government as a continuing.
The government should.
Essence.
The government cannot just unilaterally apologize. There are ways to say it. That's what I think the president should do. There are ways to bring about these things, and there are also behind the scenes settlements that can be made.
Like how?
I don't know.
They settle his legal costs.
Exactly. I don't know. That is a settlement that can be made. So everybody, what's the essence, the fulcrum of everything is let there be peace. Because we can't continue. That thing took us 15 years. We couldn't do anything. Now it has been divided into 4 assets, which shows that we can generate something from it and add to the nation's this thing. It's not just about who is fighting. It's not about the whole generality of Nigerians are going to benefit from it. You are going to benefit, I'm going to benefit. Everybody's going to benefit from it. That's what really matters. For me, every party should come down. The government is going to come back to it. I know the government is going to come back. I don't know how they're going to do it. But government don't just, I'm not even saying in the word anyway, the government will just say, I'm sorry. There's a way they say it. There's a way they're going to pass the message that will bring about peace. I think that's what matters.
Okay, on that note, I would like to thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Chuks Emeka, for joining us on This Day Live, this Sunday talk show.